Just waiting for Jim and Joe to give me some good news. It's 8 o'clock. Where are you guys? Waiting for my good news. Get your fat ass online already.
Well, it's not the X's and the O's. It's the Jimmys and the Joes.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says. That was pass interference, offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Fall on the Know with Jim and Joe.
And you can win under pressure when it's there. You call runs when you're not supposed to. And Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
You know, I'm convinced that Jameis Winston is going to have an ESPN special 30 for 30.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Odo's back? Welcome back for another edition, and a very special edition.
Yeah.
An NFL Draft
Edition.
episode here at Football on the Know here with Jim and Joe. I am fired up. I can't wait. We are just on the eve of the draft. I'm super excited, super pumped. I can't wait till we get this draft started. Can't wait to see what teams pick where, what trades happen, what surprise picks are taken. It's a lot of excitement in the air because now this is the ultimate holiday for us football fans, is draft day. This is where teams can change dramatically. If they hit on their draft picks and they get the right people in place, get the right players there, it could make the world of difference for the upcoming season. I just can't wait. I'm psyched.
It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It is one for the history books because, again, the first time the NFL draft now has gone virtual. They already did a few mocks during the week here. They had a little issue at first starting up, but the first time, I think it was on Tuesday, and the Bengals had issues, and they were down, I think, for a while. But then once it got started, everything ran smoothly and things like that. Everybody set up in their house. They got their IT guys there and whatever. So we're set to go. Like you said, it is the eve. It's like within 24 hours now, and we're getting started. But there's been some epic news in the last day or so now. It's crazy. So
there's been a lot of crazy stuff.
We're going to get to that right now and just jump right into it.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, amongst trade rumors that have been going on with everything now, we just heard, it just came about here that now Rob Gronkowski has been traded. He comes out of retirement now and is traded to
only
the
for Tom.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Look at these guys.
Just for
here.
Tom.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
That's
just for
what I mean.
Tom, baby.
That's what brought him out of retirement.
That's right.
I mean, this
You need a
guy's
break.
living the life. He lost a lot of weight. You know, he's into CBD oil and all kinds of other things.
Doing charities,
and Nickelodeon.
making
He's on the
appearances.
WWE. He's a
won
champion.
the championship belt.
24/7 championship. Now, what's going to happen with Gronk? Moving forward here, he's got to pack on the pounds now, which he said. He's already starting to get into it, and he doesn't think it's going to be a problem. But it's crazy now. This guy gone for a year.
Yeah.
The amount of injuries that he has had here, and somehow. Again, just because of Tom Brady here now is able to come back and is playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and now the headlines coming out of this, or what I think the opinions out of this whole thing have gone from two different sides.
Right.
I'm sure Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans are excited.
Elated.
Right? That's what I mean.
Super
They're
excited.
all like,
you
know, I was going to make a
We
meme
got
about
Gronk.
it today, but I'm just going to say it right here now. All right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans right now are like the way the Dallas Cowboys fans are every season. You know, they're like, oh, we're going all the way
High
for
hopes.
the championship.
High hopes.
You know what I mean? And we're going to do it. And then, they're during midseason, they're going to be like, oh, I'm not so sure, and I think that's how the season's going to go for Tampa Bay. I don't know if it's slow, easy rolling here now that they've got Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a big name and stuff, but you got to know what comes along with this whole package deal.
For sure. And that's the other thing, too, is you also got to take into the factor here is Gronkowski's not young. He's not in his prime anymore. He's 31 years old. He's right at the end. He came back short term, obviously, maybe for just 1 year. I mean, that's the thing is Tampa Bay going forward, when they pulled the trigger and they went hard after Tom Brady and they locked him and they secured him and now he's their quarterback. It's great. They got one of the smartest, one of the most capable quarterbacks in this league that there is. Very smart dude, knows how to where to throw, where to go with the football at all times. And now that you have your starting quarterback that you can fully trust, The other problem is that Tom's not going to be there for 4 or 5 years. I'm sorry to say it, but he's not. He's not the long-term solution. So the time to win, your window to go and get a Super Bowl is now. It's this upcoming season, maybe next year if Tom Brady plays past this season. And then Gronkowski, not the healthiest guy. I mean, Gronkowski, yes, when he's healthy, he's a difference maker. He provides mismatch opportunities on the football field. I mean, they don't call him Gronk. I mean, he looks like the human Hulk out there on the football field. You know, he just goes up, fights for that football. He's a big, massive guy, strong, and he has some wheels to go with that size. So is it a good addition for them? Sure. However, you do have to worry about his injury history. His injuries last year, and Gronk will tell you, he said it publicly, that he didn't have that fire in him anymore the last time he played. He didn't have any fire, didn't feel like playing anymore, kind of just went through the motions, and he admitted his body was so battered and beat up, he just couldn't take it anymore. It was killing him. So he got emotional when he said all this. He had to take a break. He had to get away. And a lot of us, I'm included, a lot of us, I just thought Gronk was absolutely done. I didn't think there was a shot that he was going to come back. And to my surprise, now he is. And I think a big part of it is because Brady is no longer with New England. You know, he did admit as much. He goes, it's extremely hard to play in New England. It's tough. It's grueling and blah, blah, blah. Now he's going to experience something different. He's going to Tampa Bay with Brady, and he's getting excited because he's going into that unknown once again.
Absolutely, the formula that he's used to. He's got Tom Brady there, somebody he can rely on. A team now where it has a lot of offensive weapons right now. We saw it last year to where maybe now the New England Patriots were looking a little vulnerable to where it was a rotation of wide receivers. We got no-namers here and there after the whole issue with AB and things like that. Josh Gordon out and all kinds of problems here. Now he goes into Tampa Bay. It looks like, they're kind of, like you said, let's win now kind of formula here. Right. I'm not sure how much it's going to go here with them, too, because I think they still need a few other moving parts around this team to be one of those elite or playoff teams. And you got to realize Tom Brady might be there, but he also is in a division to where he needs to play Matt Ryan and the Falcons twice and Drew Brees and the Saints, who have made it to the championship game, I think, like 3 or 4 seasons in a row now. Right. And just come up a little short every year. Yeah. So that's another high-powered offense, too, you're going to deal with a great defense that they have already.
That division is tough.
These guys aren't just gone now. No. You know what I mean? It's another great team it's in that same division that they have to play twice now. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park like the Patriots or like they've been used to, going through like 12 wins, 14 wins. Some are playing 16-0. I mean, you're out of your mind. You're going to shut up already.
That's the funny thing is you're going to see Brady week in and week out. He's not going to have a cakewalk anymore. When he was in the AFC East, I mean, let's face it, guys. We all knew it was coming. Dolphins were always going to lose, against the Patriots. I mean, Dolphins got them a couple times on it and just end up splitting the series. But still, for the majority of his tenure with New England in the AFC East, they were kings. Nobody stood a chance. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, they weren't up to par. They were also it seemed like they were constantly rebuilding year in and year out. Coaches leaving, coming and going, players leaving, coming and going. None of those teams could get it figured out to go up against the almighty Patriots, so it was kind of like a walk in the park to win that division. Now, I'll tell you right now, this division is going to give Brady fits. You look at the Saints' defense, how good they are right now, and their pass rush is relentless. Especially if they shore up that linebacking core, they're going to be pretty deadly this year as well. You look at the Panthers. Yes, they missed out on Luke Kuechly, but they're going to find a way to replace him, and they're going to move forward. They're going to get some. They already have a good defensive line. So the moral of the story that I'm painting here is you need to protect him. He doesn't have the same offensive line that he did in New England. Maybe not this past season, but in years past, they were pretty stout. There really wasn't that much worry about Brady getting hit or anything. Never took a solid hit. It just worked for him. Now, you're not only going to a different team, but a team that could use some upgrades at that offensive line position. And if they don't make it count in this draft and they don't get those guys for him, Brady might have a little bit rougher year. He might have some playmaking weapons at his disposal, but if you can't protect the guy, he's going to be in trouble.
And just take a look back. We talked about injuries. Here's the injury list here for Rob Gronkowski. I mean, it is a laundry list here. 3 or 4 times with the back, high ankle sprain. Again, hip, the forearm fracture twice. He tore an ACL and an MCL, the grade 3. That was both in the same game. That was tough there too. Plus the concussion in the playoffs. So it builds on, and this is what you're talking about for a player here, to where it was a win for the Patriots on the trade. I mean, you gave away a 7th, but who cares? And then you got Gronkowski to where if he played for you, you had to pay him $10 million. So you got rid of that whole salary, him a 7th, and you get a 4th rounder out of it. So basically, and he didn't play for you last year. So basically, you just got a 4th round pick for a 7th right now at this point.
Basically, you just traded the pick away.
So I mean, again, I think Patriots making the deals, the better end of that whole trade, and now it leads to maybe even the question here: what goes on with O.J. Howard? Because that has been the next question coming up here. Cameron Brate has been very productive in this offense. You see a lot of him, especially at the end zone, right there at the red zone targets here. They go to Cameron Brate, not so much O.J. Howard, and their stats are kind of similar. Just the touchdowns are piling up just as much as they are for Cameron Brate here. Yeah. And there have been talks about possibly him being on a trading block. So now they get Gronk up in this move too. Perhaps we do see O.J. Howard move, or maybe they run with the 3 tight end sets. We're not sure here again. And you had brought this up earlier when we were talking about it. Again, I think maybe Tampa Bay is asking maybe too much of a high price here for O.J. Howard. Teams aren't really budging on it, and that's why they may just run here with 3 tight ends during the season moving on.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is he's still on his rookie deal, but it is ending soon. And I think that's kind of why they want to move on from him. I don't think Tampa Bay is looking forward to trying to redo and give him more money going forward, because when you look at it, production-wise, they haven't been really utilizing his talents that much. And I thought with Bruce Arians showing up, I thought that he was just going to take off. I thought he was going to be an impact player like a lot of people were thinking that he was coming out of the draft, me included. I think the world of this guy. I think he's got all the athletic talent in the world. He does need to polish up a little bit more on blocking, but I think overall this guy is electric at that tight end position. To receive and get those red zone touchdowns like you just mentioned. But they're just not utilizing him that much. So now they're looking at it as, hey, we can cash in right now. We're not paying him hardly anything for this year, so we're not in any real big rush, but we're going to put him out on the trade block. Let's see what teams feel. And that's the thing, is when you put a statute of limitations out there and say, we're not taking anything lower than this. And what I think that they're really hoping for is a first-round pick for this kid, even though he's young and in his prime and could really help another team. Nobody's going to give you up a first-round pick for this guy. Nobody. There's tight ends in the draft that the other teams could draft. I mean, they're not going to be pressured into giving that up. As valuable as those picks are, not going to happen. Now, what I could see is if a team came along like maybe the Indianapolis Colts. I know they just signed Trey Burton. All right, I know that. But this opportunity just came up a few days ago now that he was on the block. So now maybe the Colts, they get Trey Burton from Chicago. Now he's signed with the Colts. That's a good, nice weapon there too. But if they wanted to, they could trade one of their second rounders if they felt like going that high, maybe a third, and maybe try to get the talks going that way. But I do hear that a lot of the Tampa Bay brass is really kind of shutting down teams and saying, no, we don't want anything less than a first. We want either first or second, and that's the issue.
Yeah, definitely. We have a visitor in the house. It's Mark
going on,
D'Esposito
Mark?
is in the house. Holy moly, says,
All
damn,
right.
you guys are getting better at this. Can hear the difference. Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. Well, we figure after a few
Appreciate
years
that.
now, what are we on, year 3 or going on
4?
4? Year 4.
Yeah, we're year 4,
4
bro.
years, though.
This is season 4.
Yeah, you think we would get a little better at this. So, yeah, we're
I hope
Rob
so.
Gronkowski, the deal goes on, the trade. What do you guys think of the trade? Let's hear it
Absolutely.
on the comments here. Do you think it was a fair trade? Do you think the Patriots won it, or do you think Tampa Bay is in the running here for this? If you go along with the scenario that they're going to be running all 3 tight ends, then it is a great scenario for both teams because, again,
It's a
Rob
good tight end group.
Gronkowski, yeah, there you go. You can keep him and as
Right.
your back pocket
And
tight end
if he
because
gets
he's
hurt,
just in there.
you still have Brayton,
Yep,
you still
yep,
have
yep.
OJ. So I like what they're trying to do is they're trying to cash in before they have to cash in to pay the guy. I get it, but I just hope that, going forward that they kind of they limit what they're asking for. I mean, you can't be asking for a high pick for a guy that doesn't have that much production to prove to people that he's legitimately worth that. So you really got to wonder where their head's at. Will that asking price come down? Most likely. You know what I mean? If they really want to unload them before the trade deadline, you'll probably see that. They'll probably come down a little bit, and then maybe they'll get a deal done. But I know a friend of ours talked about the same situation. He goes, well, does that mean that, O.J. Howard's going to go to the Patriots now? Because now that they moved on from Rob Gronkowski and they have a need at tight end, would they just pull the trigger and go and trade? And I think that was part of the discussion when Tampa Bay wanted Rob Gronkowski to come over and Rob went and spoke to the New England brass about, hey, I want to come back, but I want to be traded to Tampa, and that's it. That was probably part of the discussion. Now, unless it was going to happen then, it's probably not going to happen in the future. It would have had to happen in that trade.
All right, we have Colin Murphy in the house. Holy moly. All right, yeah.
What's going on, Colin?
Yeah, he says he loves it. He loves the trade. He says, keep all three. They also have Auclair as a fourth if they did want to get rid of one. Yeah,
right.
So there you go. He is a Tampa Bay fan, so he's excited too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's got to be.
How could you not be?
It's got to be great after a couple of years of Jameis Winston here and all the madness that went on with
Brady.
that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and Dirk Cutter and going through that business. So, he's got to be excited.
I know. You got to look forward. It's going to look way different for you, Colin. You're going to have a quarterback who's a absolute dynamite leader. And he's not going to throw double-digit interceptions. I mean, that's got to feel odd to you guys.
Yeah, he won't be eating W. So, also, Colin, who do you think now they should go after, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the draft? Is it a lineman? Do you think that's what their biggest need is right now? Do you think maybe even they need some depth on defense, in the secondary? What do you think so far? I know Shaq Barrett had a great season last year for them. And was
phenomenal.
Explosive and kind of surprised some people. I think a lot of people kind of overlook him a lot of times.
Oh, absolutely.
And
that's the craziest thing is when he started his career was with the Denver Broncos, and I remember him being, signed as a free agent, undrafted free agent with the Broncos, and I saw him in preseason. I've seen him early on in the stages. He was like in that rotation, and I'm like, wow, this kid can play. And when he became a free agent, I'm like, Raiders, we need pass rush. Go get this kid. He's from one of your division rivals. You bring him over. And I really was high on him after I saw him play with the Broncos, and then sure enough, he goes to Tampa Bay and just wreaks havoc. He earns a starting job and just destroys quarterbacks left and right. So yeah, he has made a name for himself at this point. He's cashed in. Now he's got a deal. He's living it up right now. So
absolutely.
Love it.
Mark D'Esposito says, I'm curious if Gronk has lost anything. He's looking pretty skinny. Yeah, he does. He looks slender, but he's still cut. They say he's 6'6", 250. He's saying he's 250 still. Yeah. He's just a nice slender 250. And last it shows here on our lads, for his last stats from being in the NFL, he was 265.
Yeah.
So maybe again, if he
he's
gets
gonna
that 15 pounds back, he's going to be trying to do it.
He will get back up there. And the thing is that he's been working out well in advance. As soon as when he was talking to Tom Brady, when Tom Brady signed his deal and everything else was going on, and Tom Brady was in Tampa and all that, the whole time Gronk has been working out to come back. So I think by the time we get the season rolling and everything, Gronk could be right back into football shape and ready to go. Yes, you're right, Mark. He was really skinny, and he didn't look like he had much muscle mass anymore as soon as he kind of had that year off.
Right.
But he's been in the gym working hard, trying to bulk up, get ready for the NFL, and I think by the season, by kickoff, he's going to be ready to go, and he's not going to really miss a step.
Right.
The only problem you have to worry about, just like we said before, is this dude gets injured. That's got to be the concern. How long can he last? He's 31 years old, and yes, he's going to get to play with his old pal Brady, but if he hurts that back of his, which is a major component of the body, as you well know, he's had 2 surgeries before. You got to be concerned with his longevity going forward, and if he happens to injure that in any kind of weird way, it is football. It's an impact sport. I hope that this doesn't happen to him, but if he gets hit the wrong way or something like that, something happens, he could paralyze himself, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah, it is
he's
very
had
scary,
2
but-
surgeries on that thing.
But yeah, if they keep the 3 tight ends again, it seems like they are just going to put him in there for mismatches, much like what the Patriots did, and for him to expose some of the DB5s or 4s or 3s even out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The inner sides, on some of these guys, and it'd just be a mismatch completely all over the field.
Yeah.
He says right tackle. Colin says right tackle first round, running back second round. Now on that, before I get to your next statement. It says, now what right tackle do you think that you would want the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go for on this one, too? There's a lot out there. It's all about personal preference, again, what you think, though, personally. What's your favorite, who they should go for? He also says Brady makes quicker decisions. When Jameis tried to make quick decisions, he threw picks. Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to get it away. Brady was always looking downfield, and again, it depends on the offense, too. There was always a dish-off, with the Patriots offense. You had multiple options, and with that offense, wide receivers and the quarterback would be on the same page on what they take a look at the defense ahead of time when they're going through, and they would make decisions. They had multiple routes going in each play and where they could split off to, and you have to be on the same page there. Are they going to switch to something similar to that there with Tampa Bay? I know Byron Leftwich is there. He's a great offensive mind here.
Yes, he is.
We've been saying
and he's going to be a head coach
praise
soon.
about him too.
Maybe
So,
next year.
This is what I mean. This could even be his next step if they
absolutely.
do well here to him getting another head coaching job here along in the NFL.
The other thing I want to mention is that, for Colin, I know you want right tackle, but I actually think that if Tampa Bay was going to take a tackle in the first round, bookend tackles are very important, but I definitely could see Donovan Smith being moved over to right and them taking a youngster, one of the 4 top-tier tackles. I don't know if they're going to get it at pick 14. They may have to move up. They could probably just sit there and wait for the best available. There's another tackle by the name of Josh Jones that no one's really talking that much about, and he is in a small school, but we've seen it beforehand. These guys, that they as long as you dominate their schools and everything, they could make that jump to the NFL. He's a guy to watch out for. I definitely could see whoever they do draft might just kind of fit right in and just stamp him in at left tackle, move Smith over to right, and then keep moving forward and help protect him that way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mark says use the others for blocking and Gronk as a receiver primarily. Question mark. Possibly. I mean, they're all great wide receivers. O.J. Howard can block.
Mike Evans.
But yeah, Mike Evans even a great blocker too. There too. I mean, but that's what's scary about this is what I think
weapons.
most people see is Gronk. Yes, he can block too himself, and he's a great wide receiver. And basically all of them are wide receivers are receiving threats, but they can also shore up for some blocks too, which is why it's very intriguing too with some of the grumblings I'm hearing too. With I think somebody had brought up maybe that Zeke Elliott is unhappy in Dallas. Now now Tampa Bay fans are jumping on this. I don't know if Colin has heard this, but again, they're like, oh, we should just try and get Zeke now.
He just signed a deal. He ain't going nowhere.
I know. It's like everybody's trying to get them. Let's try and jump on the whole train, maybe go through and get a Super Bowl win. But I mean, they need to get that running game going too. That will help alleviate stress off that offensive line. And Tom Brady, again, who is he's 43 years old. He's getting older too. And no matter what, if you look at it, he has lost a step. It might not be a big step, but he has lost a little bit out there. You can't deny that. So, I mean, this is where his twilight years are, and that's why this season coming up, whenever it starts, is a critical season here, and I think why they went all in getting Gronkowski too as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to develop a winning culture here, and what better way to do it with a guy that's done it 6 times and won 6 championships. So Tom Brady, they bring him in the fold. Now they got Rob Gronkowski, his good old pal, coming back. Hopefully he's up to par, up to football, football shape, and the other thing too, the most important thing. Now I do see this offense changing from what it was last year because it's got to fit Tom Brady. It can't be the long distance offense that they want to push the ball down the field a lot of times and try to create an offense that way when Winston was there. Right. Now you have Brady. Brady's been used to getting the ball out quick, and that's what's sustained his body for so long and not taking these major hits, not holding on to the football. He gets rid of it. Bruce Arians going to develop an offense to fit Brady. and fit. Look at you got Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. There's a lot of mismatches there, and now you have Rob Gronkowski coming into the fold. You're going to see a lot of different options. Byron Leftwich, like you mentioned before, he's going to have a lot of toys to play with right here. You could even see double tight end sets now, Gronk and O.J. Howard, or O.J. Howard and Cameron Braid, or vice versa. There's a lot of possibilities with this offense. This offense is going to really be something to deal with, I think, coming up into this season. And on the defensive side, now a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're all set to make a Super Bowl run. Now, maybe offensively, if they shore up that offensive line a little bit, tweak it a little bit, maybe their offense is ready for a Super Bowl run. Their defense is still growing. It's still young. It's still trying to mature. That secondary, they have a few young personnel in there that are kind of up-and-coming guys that no one's really talking about, and they have something good brewing there. You know, they drafted the middle linebacker at LSU to kind of supplant that, you know, to tighten up that linebacking core, and I think they're just going to keep it rolling. I think you're going to see it in this draft. They're going to concentrate, I think, more on offensive line, but also kind of if they can get and there's plenty of talent to go around. They're going to look for another running back to draft possibly. They're going to look at D-line to fulfill some of the gaps that have been left. And maybe potentially, maybe this year, definitely next year, they're going to have to start looking for the future at quarterback as well.
Yeah, and Colin brings up here, they improved the last 6 games in the season, very young in the secondary, and they did it. And I think that's what gives a lot of these fans hope, too, because they saw what they were capable of doing when you didn't have like turnovers and you guys played together and didn't botch games. I remember the London game they were in. That was just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how many false starts there were in a row. It was pathetic. I couldn't even stand it.
It was
Mark D'Esposito, he says, will it click in one season? Yeah, probably. You know,
it
again,
could.
It's just
it's one of those things where there's a lot has to go right too. You know, you got to develop chemistry. Like, listen, Brady's never thrown to these alpha dogs that he has at receiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes it a little easier. Mike Evans, huge target and everything. Chris Godwin can really just break ankles. He's just absolutely amazing. And then you have this tight end group that he's going to be able to throw to. There's a lot to like there. And I think with this alteration of the offense that Arians is going to install, I think it's just going to fit Tom Brady to a T. And I really don't think they're going to have too many issues to run this offense. So, listen, Brady's an extremely smart dude. Hey, if you can handle the New England Patriots offensive playbook, then you're one of the smartest dudes in the NFL, because that thing has options for every single play, every single route. It's absolutely insane. I couldn't handle it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, Mark says, too, that, you know, they're talking about will there be a season. He says he hopes so. He's okay with crowdless games. And Colin says would love Swift out of Georgia, but that won't happen. You know, so
it could happen, Colin.
Yeah, you never
it
know.
could. You never know.
Slide.
Listen, that's the thing about this draft. And, yeah, we are very unsure. After the top pick, I'm sorry, even the second pick, I'm not 100% sure. It should be easy. It should be Chase Young all day long. It's not that hard for me to pick him. But after the first pick, it's not really a lock anymore. Teams could trade in and out. Players or positions that you think a team is going to definitely take, they might not even take. They might trade down and take someone else. I mean, this draft is so deep with talent. It's insane. Yes, receivers, we're beating it like a dead drum here, is completely full of talent. You can get talent in the third round that should be in the first round. That's how deep this is. And then beyond that, there's a lot of other positions that are pretty deep that, you know, they're not really praising that much. So,
and who knows,
it is
with
possible.
All the rumors, you know, with the smoke screens that's going on.
Oh.
It is, and some of them
We
are
knew
even
that was coming.
possible. You know what I'm saying? With the way with Gettleman has been even the last, you know, 2 seasons here with
Don't
some
get
of
me
the
started with
drafting.
him.
So, I mean, you never know. He's always saying, oh, I'm open to trading out, you know, this and this. Yeah, no. And let's draft another D tackle, so you never know.
So Colin, let me ask you this then. You want DeAndre Swift out of Georgia as your running back. Good pick. My opinion, he's the third best running back. He is going to be a really good player in the NFL. However, you could probably get a guy lower, maybe even in the second round. One of these better running backs that I feel that like J.K. Dobbins. I really like him. I know that, you know, Tampa, they tend to like that the more elusive type of running back. But J.K. Dobbins is a real deal. If he's there in the second round for you, I would be very happy if he falls to you there. Also, you're picking 14. It's very possible they could trade down and get more picks and then still take a running back. But I really see them kind of staying pat and seeing what tackles are there. Because you got to protect Brady number one. So I definitely see them taking offensive line in the first round, maybe running back in the second round, and then kind of mix it up from there.
Yeah, maybe read it even too by what offensive tackles and on linemen, because that's the funny thing about this draft too. Everybody talks about how great the wide receivers are, and it's deep
Offensive
there.
line's deep.
Offensive line is deep, and there's a lot of good ones, and we're even maybe could see there's a lot of records that could break in this whole whole
100%.
draft here.
100%.
I mean, we could see all in the top 10 many offensive tackles being taken, offensive linemen in the first round. You could see 7 wide receivers taken or so. You never know. I mean, so it's just crazy how it's going all around. First time it's gone virtual like this, and who knows? Like if a guy even happens to not be there, maybe they trade back again and gather up some more picks, like you said, trade out of that spot.
It's a big deal when you have more picks in the top 100, the second and third round. Those players are more apt to become superstars than your first-round pick. We've seen plenty of bust guys. We know that.
Oh, yeah. We've got Mike Tackett.
What's going on, Mike?
Mike Tackett, our buddy Mike Tackett is in the house. He says, glad to see you guys live on Draft Eve. Thank you, Mike.
Yes,
it's good to see you, too, as well. A lot of questions and uncertainties heading into tomorrow night. But one thing is certain, regardless of how great we think our mock drafts look.
That's right.
They'll all go straight
be
into
terrible
the trash bin.
by the
Yeah,
end of the
absolutely.
first
Joe and our buddy Cody, who is one of our top know-it-alls here, they've been doing a mock draft. And we'll see. And also, too, Colin, this is for you, too, as well. If you guys missed some of our earlier shows this past month, Joe had done top 10 lists of all the positions. I am going to be posting them up tonight, too, so you can see them all tomorrow. Go through them and see what you think, if you agree or disagree, and move, use them during the draft. See how it goes. Our draft board goes along with theirs.
Yeah.
So he says, blow it up. I'll go straight to the trash. Yep. Once we start seeing trades, keep an eye on Miami and Las Vegas, he says. They'll be very active. And he said, lots of talent at wide receiver and tackle. We could see a record night tomorrow at the tackle position.
Oh, yeah.
Got to see your foundation in the Passers League. Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then Colin says, since they are signing these older guys, maybe bring back Dewart Dunn and Mike Allstott. Yeah, right. Who knows? I'm surprised, that Gruden hasn't brought back Mike Allstott.
He loved Mike Allstott.
Like but Colin brings up the fact that Percy Harvin, how about this? Percy Harvin comes out and says, I'm thinking about making a comeback. What do you guys think?
Stop, Percy, stop.
I was going to use a terrible joke and say, I think that would just be a bunch of headaches,
Yeah,
but yes,
just stop.
That's just a bad joke.
Dude, there's no way. I mean, listen, you had a hard time staying on the football field until halftime. You get too many concussions, bro. You can't do it. Yeah, it's he's not apt. And now his body's older. Yeah. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
There's no way. No way.
Again,
Stop.
where was he if he wanted to try and play in the XFL or whatever when that was around even too? If you really wanted to play, you would have been trying to get stepping stones.
He should have did that.
Showed your what you could do.
Exactly.
But anyways, so I mean,
too old.
It's going to be very exciting tomorrow. We're going to get to some more of the trades and the rumors that are going on and stuff like that. But I had just brought up that Joe has done his list, and tonight we're going to wrap up this last 3 lists here. We're going to roll through them, see if you guys agree or disagree with Joe. Go ahead, let's hear them out there in the comments section, and also then we'll go right to the rumors and stuff, and everything. So I mean, and everything that we're hearing, the Dolphins possibly moving up for a tackle and some others. So
yeah, a lot of stuff. And I just want to say real quick, thank you, Know-It-Alls, for showing up, for showing out. And let's keep it going. Keep going with the questions. Keep going with the opinions. This is what the show's all about. Share some info.
Welcome new members out there.
Absolutely. Welcome everybody. And if you're tuning in, whether you're from YouTube, from Facebook, whatever, on YouTube, you can catch us up on Football on the No Show. Make sure you subscribe on there and then hit that notification bell so you get all the latest and greatest updated content from us. Also on Facebook. Most of you are already on Facebook. You know this, Football on the No Show. And we're also on Twitter. We try and do our best to keep up on all the rumors and the trades and all the news around the NFL on Twitter at FB_no. Make sure you follow on all 3 platforms. keep this thing rolling. Let's keep growing as a family.
Absolutely. You never know what you're going to get. All right, here we go. Next up, we've got Joe's top 10 defensive backs. Joe, let's let it rip. Who do you got at number 10?
Number 10, I got, might be a surprise to a lot of people, but I got number 10, I got LSU Christian Fulton. Yep, Christian Fulton, here's the thing, is it's not that I'm down on the guy. I think he's going to be a good corner in the NFL, could be one of the best. However, from the tape that I watch, I know LSU plays a lot of zone, and I just feel like Christian Fulton hasn't been able to display too much man-to-man for me on the little bit of tape that I was able to gather. Listen, I don't have coach's tape available to me, so I'm making just my best guess here. Christian Fulton, I have him at number 10 in the cornerbacks here. Now, this is defensive backs, so this is going to be a mixture of corners and safeties. Next man up, Jalen Johnson. This kid is really kind of taken off and flying up draft boards leading up in the next few hours. I've already heard teams that are really kind of in love with him, even in the first round. There are definitely a few teams that are looking for more like a hybrid kind of physical cover type corner. For those type of teams that like that, this kid is the real deal. He's going to make a difference in the NFL. I got him at number 9. Number 8, I got Jeff Gladney. Some of you go, Jeff who? Yeah, his name is a little strange, but Jeff Gladney is a tough, physical, fast corner. This kid, he's not the tallest guy. He's like 5'9"-ish, but he's very physical. He can stick onto receivers like White on Rice. He's legit. He's the real deal. So Jeff Gladney, I have number 8. Number 7, I got from Clemson, A.J. Terrell. A.J. Terrell is kind of like the prototypical corner that you're all looking for. Long, lanky, has speed to burn, and he did a great job for Clemson in man-to-man coverages. I don't know how well he plays in zone, but A.J. Terrell I really like because not only does he have the size, he has the speed, and he has the instincts. Can tackle well. Number 6, safety, Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin, a little bit of a smaller school, but this kid is a stud. He is huge at 6'3". He's like Cam Chancellor-esque. He's not exactly Cam Chancellor right now, but he could develop to be. Jeremy Chin, physical, fast. He can cover, he can tackle well, he does it all. I got him at number 6. Number 5, I got safety Xavier McKinney from Alabama. Xavier McKinney, I love this kid. He's almost Jeremy Chin is almost a mirror image of Xavier McKinney. He can do everything as well. McKinney, I just have him rated a little higher because he played with Alabama. But McKinney, he does everything well. He covers well. He tackles well. He has great instincts. But from Alabama, you're truly tested. Number 4, a little bit of a surprise pick at cornerback, Bryce Hall. Bryce Hall, he's another guy who's got that length. He's got that speed. He's got the zone and the man down, and he's a good player on the perimeter. Look for him to make kind of like a jump. I don't know where exactly he's going to go, but it's possible he could go in the lower of the first round. Number 4. So number 3, we're in the top 3 here. I got another safety from Minnesota, Antoine Winfield Jr. And you might be saying to yourself, that name sounds familiar. Well, that's because this is the son of the father, Antoine Winfield Sr., who played cornerback for many years for the Minnesota Vikings. And now his son is about to enter the NFL. And his son is legit. I mean, this kid is amazing. He's got great instincts. He's fast. He's not tall like some of these other safeties, but, man, he packs a punch when he hits. He tackles extremely well. He can cover man and off, zone, you name it. He's legit. He's a real deal for Minnesota. I have it number 3. And number 2, I have cornerback, Jeff Okudah. You're like, wait a second. Jeff Okudah, number 2? You got to be kidding me. Listen, from a little bit of the tape that I got to watch Jeff Okudah, there's a lot to like with him. Now, this is kind of like a purely, just a hunch, call it. I just feel like there are a lot of teams out there that are starting to switch this late, right before the draft. They're starting to switch their boards a little bit. They're starting to like C.J. Henderson more and Jeff Okudah a little bit less. Not like a drop-off, but there's that argument in the room, or nowadays virtually, that they should go Henderson over Okuda. And there's parts of both of these guys' games that you really love, and then there's sometimes you're like, some people are saying Okuda isn't as physical as they like him to be. But I've seen plays where he kind of lit people up, hit running backs, and then vice versa with Henderson. Some people are saying Henderson, he might be a little soft, but then you see plays once in a while where he's making a great tackle, and so it's really basically it's just kind of like a hunch that I feel that Okuda is taking a little bit of a slip here. Not to mention he is going to be a shutdown corner. Don't get me wrong, I love the guy, but I got him at number 2. And at number 1, of course, I got C.J. Henderson.
Yep.
C.J. Henderson out of Florida. He's kind of come on. He was always in the conversation of being in the top 3, top 4 around league circles. But now it seems like on some boards he's topping the list as the number 1 corner. And I think teams are starting, as they did more homework on him and watched a little bit more coaches tape on him, they're starting to realize that maybe he has a slight edge over Okuda, which a lot of reporters are pushing. And now you have my
there
top
you go.
10.
There's his top 10
DBs.
defensive backs. All right, rolling right along, right into your top 10 defensive linemen, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Let's have it here at number 10.
Number 10, I got Leki Fotu. That's right, Leki Fotu. Now, my dad knows that I love Samoan football players, and this is no different. I love this dude, absolutely. I've always said that Samoan football players make the best linemen, and so
Sometimes it is.
they're gifted with genetics. So if you can teach them, they could be dominating. But Leki Fotu, now this is the craziest thing. They have him listed at D line. Guess where he played in college? He's like an Isaiah Simmons on the line.
Really?
He's played offensive line. He's played tight end.
Oh, wow.
He's played D-line, D-end. He's been all over the football field. And he's very versatile, huge size, super strong, and he has athletic ability to burn. So I got him at number 10 spot on my D-line.
All right.
And number 9, might be a lot of surprise to you guys, but I got A.J. Epinesa at number 9. Now, watching him, he's going to fit a niche for some team. I look at A.J. Epinesa as like a 3-4 D-end. He's a big D-end. He doesn't have the speed. He does have athletic ability for his size. He's a huge guy, but he's more of a power guy. So I see him as more of a 3-4 D-end, which kind of limits him on my list. And I have him going 9th on my top 10. And number 8, I have, and one of our buddies loves this guy's name, from Penn State, Yetur Gross-Matos. Yeah, that's right, Gross-Matos. So I'm not as high as a lot of these other experts are. I think that he has a lot to develop. He has a lot to like with his athletic ability, his speed around the edge, and so forth. But I still think he needs refinement on his hand fighting. He still needs a little bit more refinement, or he needs to add a little bit more size to his frame. He is kind of a little bit lanky and stuff. I don't know how that's going to play into the NFL. But if he was to make the change, I think he very well could make the change and keep his stature and move to 3-4 outside linebacker for someone to rush off the edge. I think that's kind of his niche in the NFL as of right now, unless they want to develop him into being one of those 4-3 DNs. But I have Gross-Matos in number 8 slot. Number 7, I got Justin Matabuike. That's right. Go ahead, say that 3 times fast. Guy out of Mississippi. This dude is legit. He's athletic. He's got size. He's 300-plus pounds. He's fast for his size. He ran like a 5.140. It was crazy. These big linemen now are running 5 flat, 4.9, 5.1. It's insane. Or maybe even better than that. But I love Justin. I love his game. He's tenacious. He's powerful. He gets after the quarterback, creates pressure. And he's got some speed to burn at the D tackle spot there at number 7. Number 6, I got Ross Blacklock coming in at number 6 spot. Ross Blacklock, there are things that I like about his game, but something that I noticed when he was in college is he won a lot of the one-on-one battles that he faced with his quickness and speed burst. Playing it right up against the guard, he was literally running around guards. That's how quick he was. So I feel like going into the NFL, he's not going to have that luxury when he plays these top-tier offensive linemen now in the NFL, where he's going to just be able to sprint around everybody. now he's going to have to try to figure out how to use some pass rush moves, how to get off of the blocks, and that sort of thing. So I have him a little bit lower than some other people have. I got him at number 6. And number 5, I have Auburn's very own defensive end, Marlon Davidson. This kid is starting to make a name for himself as we get closer and closer to the draft. Derek Brown, he was overshadowed by him because all the focus was on Derek Brown, but this kid made it happen as well. Coming off the edge, he's got great size for a DN. He's ferocious. He's getting to the quarterback. When Derek Brown's double teamed, this dude's coming after you. So I really like his game, and I think he's going to go higher than some people expect. Marlon Davidson. And number 4, I got Missouri's Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott, he's another impact-type D tackle. He's a little bit more athletic than, say, like a Derek Brown. He does have great burst, and he's very stout at the point of attack. But I really like Jordan Elliott's motor. He's got tremendous motor, and he's always pushing to get into the backfield to create pressure on the quarterback and also stop the run. Jordan Elliott, number 4. Number 3 in the top 3 here, I just mentioned him before, Derek Brown. Derek Brown out of Auburn, seen as one of the most elite D tackles coming out in the last 5 years. A lot of people love this kid, and he's kind of starting to build some steam, going even higher. I've heard rumors that the Panthers at 7 could take this kid. I've heard Detroit Lions at 3, if they stay there. They might not take a corner. They could very well take Derek Brown, and it's justifiably so. Derek Brown is a difference maker in the middle. He is 340 pounds, guys. He's 6'3", 6'4", 340. He's a big man, and he moves like a gazelle. It's scary. I wouldn't want to be a quarterback right now. Forget that. But Derek Brown, he makes the top 3. I got him at number 3. A lot of everybody else has him at number 2. But my number 2 guy is from South Carolina, and that's Javon Kinlaw. I love this kid. Yes, I know he's got a phenomenal story of how he's fought through a lot of adversity growing up in his life, but he has put the work in. This guy, you can't teach length. He's got super long arms. He's got power. He's got strength. He's got athletic ability. He's got speed. He's got the hand movements, the hand fighting. He's got it down. He is a pass rushing type of D tackle. He's going to make a difference for somebody, whoever takes him, just like Derek Brown. But I got Kinlaw at number 2. He's my favorite D tackle.
There you go.
And then
that
number
brings you
1.
up to number 1 here.
You guys had to guess this one. I mean, this isn't even. It's not even hard for this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chase Young at Ohio State. I mean, there's not much I have to say. The dude is a dominating type of being. They call him the Predator for a reason. You know, he hunts quarterbacks down. He gets them on the ground all the time. And Chase Young, he's going to be a handful to deal with when he gets into the NFL. And there's my top 10 D linemen.
Yeah, there you go. The D lineman rolling right through there. So if you guys agree or not, that's cool too. But if you disagree or you think somebody should be moved up or down, let us know out there. Free. Definitely, we're up for debate and stuff. I mean, we're throwing it out there. It's what Joe thinks. Again, you guys have opinions out there. We'd love to hear from you guys. Rolling through here on his last list for tonight. He's got the top 10 linebackers coming out of the draft here. Rolling in at number 10, Joe. Who do you got?
And I will admit, I'll just say Troy Dye. He's right there. Troy Dye from Oregon. He's very athletic, tallish type of dude. He's 6'3", moves extremely well. Played outside linebacker for Oregon Ducks and did a great job in zone. Also, phenomenal pass rushing off the edge. I couldn't get any tape to really see what he could do man-to-man in coverage, so that was kind of. He does have speed though, so maybe it's just the product of the system he was playing in, where they didn't play that much man. But Troy Dye, there's a lot to like with his athletic ability and his coverage in zone. But I have Troy Dye at number 10. And before we go in a little further, I just want to say for linebackers, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get as much tape on some of these guys as what I'd like to do, because I wanted to get this list done before our show, and it was getting down to the nitty-gritty. But so at number 9, I have linebacker Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks, there's a lot to like with this guy. He's got some speed. He's got some tenacity. He's a ferocious tackler, plays the run extremely well. And it's just something about this kid's game that I think he's going to do well. He might not be a day one starter, but he's going to develop into being that day one starter relatively quickly. At number 8, much like Jordan Brooks, I have Willie Gay Jr. Willie Gay Jr., really fast at the combine, ran like a 4.5 plus 40, and impressed me a little bit. I didn't even know this kid before the combine, before we even got into the draft. But Willie Gay Jr., I mean, he made a lot of nice plays in the open field, sideline to sideline. There's a lot to like with this game. So Willie Gay Jr. I have at number 8. In number 7, I got Akeem Davis Gaither. Long name, to say the least. But his long name goes with his longevity in college. He was definitely one of those long-term 3 to 4 year type players who just stuck it out, started from day one, and was a difference maker for his team. There's a lot to like with his game as well. Another guy, and I tend to look at linebackers. I try to look for a nice blend of size and speed to go with it, as well as instincts. And Akeem is one of those players at number 7. Number 6, here's a kid out of Wyoming, Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson, this kid's name is starting to rise on draft boards, and pretty quickly. He wasn't really talked about that much. I think Daniel Jeremiah kind of brought his name up on the NFL Network before, and that's kind of what piqued my interest. And then I started to watch his tape and stuff. There's a lot to like there. He plays middle linebacker, sideline to sideline, a blue chip type of player. So if you're looking for a real hard-nosed football player, this is the kid. It is Logan Wilson. Number 5, I got from Ohio State, Malik Harrison. Malik Harrison, he played for Ohio State. Now listen, Malik Harrison I would have higher if it wasn't like a blended linebacking list. He'd be much higher on my middle linebackers. He'd probably be 3rd maybe 2nd. But Harrison, there's a lot. When I say there's a lot to like with this kid, he does everything well. Everything. He plays the run well. He drops into coverage well. He plays man well. He'll beat up on Emmanuel on the offensive tackle spot. So I really like Malik Harrison. He does everything well, and when you have a well-rounded player like that at linebacker, he's a definite find. You definitely need to add him to your team. Number 4, I have Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen is not as polished. He's more of an outside linebacker than a middle, like Harrison is. But Queen has a high ceiling in my opinion. There's a lot to like. He played didn't play as long as some of these other guys, but Patrick Queen has extremely high athletic ability for his size, for his position. There was guys that he would tackle in the open field that kind of astonished me. Guys that were juking, and he was able to make the change, make the quick, plant his foot and make that quick change to make that tackle happen. So Patrick Queen, he's relatively raw a little bit, and he definitely needs to develop his game a little bit farther. But Patrick Queen is going to be a guy who's going to be a starter and develop into one of the good ones. Number 3, from out of Wisconsin, I got Zach Baun. Zach Baun, I've kind of fell in love with this kid as I got into more scouting and looking at all these linebackers. Zach Baun, he's kind of like a do-it-all type of guy. He's got size. He can rush off the edge. He did a phenomenal job with Wisconsin. He was always in the backfield when he was asked to blitz. And Zach Baun is one of those type of difference makers where he can play, he can drop back into coverage, he plays the run well, he does everything well. And with his size and his athletic ability, his speed, he's going to be a deadly linebacker in the NFL. And at number 2, I have from Oklahoma, I got Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma. Now, if this was a middle linebacker draft, he'd be my number 1 linebacker. But nonetheless, Kenneth Murray is going to be a difference maker for whatever team takes him. This kid is super smart, and he studies football like 24/7. Just studies it. He's a student of the game. He flies sideline to sideline super fast for his size. He's like 240, 6'2", something like that. And he runs like a 4.54. The dude's nuts. He's off the charts in every category. So I got him at number 2. And number 1 is Isaiah Simmons. Now, there's a little bit of a clause here for Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons, I have him as my number 1 linebacker. He'd have to play outside linebacker in my eyes. I don't know if he could hold up to the everyday hit in the middle, in the trenches and everything. But Isaiah Simmons is a freak of nature. This kid can not only play linebacker, and in my opinion, outside linebacker, but he also can play safety. You can drop back at safety. He's got the speed to do it. And we haven't seen an athlete or or someone of his size play safety since Cam Chancellor. The dude is going to be absolutely insane. Now, a lot of people don't know where to put this kid. Some people say, oh, you got to play him at outside linebacker. Oh, you got to play him at D end. Oh, you have to play him at safety. Nobody really knows where to put this kid, but I think you take this kid in knowing that he can play all those positions, and you move him around like a chess piece to fit the offense you're playing up against. I think that he's a Swiss Army knife, really. So Isaiah Simmons, I'm really high on, and absolutely love the kid. He's down to earth, and he just balls out. He does everything well. He played actually nickel corner at one point for Clemson, so and was able to stay with receivers. I mean, think about that. This dude is huge. So it's absolutely insane, but Isaiah Simmons is definitely one of my favorite prospects.
All right, there you go. That's Joe's top 10 list. He had his linebackers, his DBs, and his D linemen out there. So, yeah, he's been working hard at all this, so we'll look and see where these guys land tomorrow. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of talking there, but thank everybody for sticking with us here, too. And Mike Tackett has his own list. Joe, why don't you rip off what Mike Tackett here has?
Let's see it.
He has Jeffrey Okudah, number 1 here, his top 10 DBs.
Okay.
Xavier McKinley, CJ Henderson now at number 3 now. Trevin Diggs and at 4, 5 Christian Fulton, Antoine Winfield Jr. at 6, 7 Grant Delpit, and 8 AJ Terrell, 9 Kyle Duggar, and 10 Jalen Johnson. A few different ones there than what you have there. So, so that's what we're talking about here with you guys. We love to hear your input. Everybody has different opinions here.
Appreciate
Mike,
that.
we definitely know and appreciate everything that he brings to the table. This guy knows his football too as well, so we love to hear his lists too. He says his top 10 D linemen here, too. Why don't you rip off the D linemen?
Mike Tackett's top 10 D linemen. Go with number 1. Chase Young. That's hard.
Yeah.
Number 2, he's got Derek Brown. He has Derek Brown at number 2. Javon Kinlaw at number 3. AJ Epinesa at number 4. Number 5, Yetur Gross-Matos. Number 6, Justin Medubuike. Number 7, Ross Blacklock. Oh, yeah, number 8, Neville Gallimore. I know about him. I have him as one of my sleepers. I do like him a lot. Just didn't make the cut in mine. But number 9, Terrell Lewis, and number 10, Jordan Elliott. All right. Right on.
There you go. Let's just read up his last list, too, his linebackers.
His top 10 linebackers, he got Isaiah Simmons. He got number 2, Kalavon Chason. Number 3, Patrick Queen. Number 4, Kenneth Murray. Number 5, Zach Bond. Number 6, Malik Harrison. 7, Troy Dye. 8, Josh Uche from Michigan. That's your boy.
Yeah.
You like that. Number 9, Jordan Brooks. And number 10, Logan Wilson.
There you go. There's Mike Tackett's top 10. Yeah, all right. So we love to hear it.
The funny thing is about this, and I love this, Mike, I really appreciate your list, but I like to see how different everybody's mindset is or their – because a lot of these lists, when you make it yourself, it's basically more of your own what you like in that position. You know what I mean? Is more like what when you make your list, it's based off like your likes and dislikes or whatever information you were able to obtain type of deal. But I like to see the diversity in the list. You know what I mean? How different some people
different
think.
Where he's got guys up further than you do and things like that.
Because then, you know what it does? I mean, there's some names that he has. There's a couple names that he has in his top 10 list where I'll be like, I didn't think you could go that high, but maybe. You never know.
And then take another peek at him.
And then when we watch the draft, we're all going to be wrong. So
right. I mean, when we watched it last year, we were at KDO Burns in downtown Schenectady.
Oh my God.
We were supposed to be there this season again, but with everything that's going on with the pandemic. By the way, I hope everybody's staying safe out there and taking care of one another. We were supposed to be there tomorrow night, but again, I mean, it was crazy last year.
It was funny.
The Daniel Jones pick, everybody went electric for. Even when with the Raiders there, our buddy Jeff Levac from 104.5, the Team ESPN Radio, when he heard Cleveland Farrell, he was just like, he almost
shocked.
Like, what?
Yeah, he was shocked.
Because everybody, again, the people that fell so far, too, I mean, the way it was going, I mean, it looked like they might be getting some of the guys they wanted, and it was just crazy in the order it went, and depending
100%.
on what team liked what guy.
Right.
I mean, it was crazy. So we'll see some more of that this coming season. Let's talk a little bit now. We've got up here the rumors, the scenarios, and the questions. If you guys have questions out there, too, what you think about certain teams, doesn't even have to be your team, go ahead, throw them out there, or even scenarios or rumors that you might have heard, and scenarios that you might think would be kind of tricky. Some teams trading in and trading out. Mike Tackett brought up that Miami, I think it was, and that the Vegas Raiders will be very active.
They'll be big
in
players
trading
in
and stuff like
trading,
that. And then that's what we're hearing lately now is with the Dolphins possibly moving up into the third spot with the Detroit Lions to possibly get a tackle now. You know, an offensive lineman, to where a lot of people throughout this whole system since the offseason here, it went from they've got to get their future quarterback.
They do.
If the quarterback's not on their roster right now, if Josh Rosen wasn't good enough to beat out Ryan Fitzpatrick last season, is he going to be able to do it this year? So they're looking at him. They've got Tua out there. You've got Herbert. You've got, Love, a bunch of them out there. Maybe at 5, they're going to go for quarterback. But now we're hearing that they're possibly going to make trades, try and trade up and move forward here and surrender one of their picks to get that up spot to maybe jump in front of the Giants if they really truly believe that the Giants are going offensive line too and offensive tackle, that maybe they heard something that maybe the Giants are going to grab their guy.
Yeah.
They're going to go and try and leapfrog them here, because the Giants also in this whole thing have been open to saying that we're willing to trade out too as well. And now, they're trying to say, they've been visiting here a lot with Herbert, so we're not going on with that.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Dolphins scenario here?
I think it's a crazy scenario, because here's the thing too, is there's so many variables going on with this rumor that's out there. Now, the Giants could be thinking, hey, we're going to get our tackle. And now the Dolphins like, hey, we want one of those guys.
Yeah.
So in order for us to secure a player that we really want and not take a risk, maybe the Giants take him, we need to trade up ahead of him. But also, they could be trading ahead of him because there's also been a weird rumor about Joe Judge and company kind of really doing a lot of homework on Justin Herbert to possibly take another quarterback. I think that might not be the smartest idea. I know you're a new regime and you want to get your guy type of thing, but you need to protect whoever's back there. So you're picking at 4. I think the smartest thing is to take Jedrick Wills out of Alabama, who I absolutely love, and I think he fits to a T for that left tackle position. And because of all that, maybe the Dolphins are saying, hey, well, what do we do here? Do we trade up, and do we have to trade up and get Herbert? Is that a concern? That could be. But the other crazy thing about this is they don't want to just trade up for 3 and trade their 5 up there. No. They want to keep their 5th pick overall and trade maybe a couple of those firsts to get that 3rd pick away from Detroit. So that way they're going to have 2 picks in the top 5. Be insane. They'll have the tackle of their choice, maybe, if that's the route they go. And then they could sit at 5 and get Herbert, potentially. Also, you got to wonder, too, do the Dolphins, are they starting to hear they're starting to smell some smoke here where there could be some fire where teams want to trade ahead of the Dolphins to get also another tackle. Because we've heard a lot of rumors now Detroit is willing to play ball here. They're looking to trade out, and they want to cash in as much as possible. Now you got competition all trying to trade for your spot, which drives up the price. If a team comes up and wants that tackle bad enough, we look at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay could be one of those teams that maybe they do want to trade up and secure that spot. Now you're looking at 2 teams back-to-back taking tackles. Could it be? It could be, X team and then the Giants. X team takes a tackle, Giants take a tackle. You know what I mean? It could go pretty quickly. And we're hearing coming out from a lot of the teams, tackle is the thing that everyone's trading up for. They want one of these core 4 tackles. They want them that badly that there's a lot of teams calling up and just kind of figuring out what they could work out in terms of a trade.
The funny thing that I think kind of strikes me in this whole deal too, you guys could chime in too if you want here, but I mean they just traded away Laramie Tunsil during last season.
Yeah,
I mean
brilliant.
that was a great.
Oh, it's a great move.
Great.
Why
tackle here.
Let's ruin your organization.
So you're going to say now you've got 3 picks in the first round. Now you're going to surrender 2 of them to get another one up to draft another tackle early.
Right.
I mean, some of this just doesn't make sense to me. Like with the moves, what they're going to do here.
Yeah.
I understand quarterback completely, but if you want to unload some of these guys that are great talents and still young.
Yeah.
And no issues that I've heard so far. Even, he had the smoking pot issue you thought he did with the gas mask. That when he got drafted, that's why he fell to them. But
was
since
great.
he's been a Dolphin or whatever, I haven't
Right.
heard anything.
No,
so
he's
been playing great. No
Model
off-the-field
citizen.
issues.
Yeah.
And now you're going to try and surrender some of your draft picks to go get a tackle. I'm not sure. Maybe they are listening to what the Giants are doing and believing it. It's like, oh, now they're talking to Herbert.
Yeah.
That was going to be our guy. Because
Yeah.
you know that as time went on,
Right.
the rumors about them going to it was like signed that they're going to get Tua. Tua Tagovailoa. Then
Right.
all of a sudden, you hear more about his health.
Yep.
They're not so sure that they're more on some other guys here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is Herbert. You're not sure. So maybe they're buying into that and moving in.
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure. That's the thing that's interesting with the draft. You don't know
A lot of smoke
lot
and
of
mirrors.
times until you see it, and you don't know what happens. We saw the Saints a few years ago trade in move up and use one of their first rounders to get Marcus Davenport. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
that
kind
was
of
last
crazy.
year.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty nutty alone. And he's a good player, but to give up what you gave up just to get a few more spots when you probably could have got him.
Mm-hmm. They were in love
when you
with
were
him.
right there.
Oh no,
So,
they had to trade up to get him. He was
I don't
he was
know.
going up draft boards.
I don't know. So, I mean,
sure.
but that's the thing is, too, when you have all these different opinions of what you believe, I thought that Daniel Jones, when the Giants picked him last year, they could have waited and still maybe got him. Who knows? Maybe the Redskins did really want him. Maybe they didn't. Maybe other teams did. You don't know. I'm not sure. You
And
know
then
what I'm
maybe
saying?
a team you never expected was going to trade up against the Giants.
absolutely.
So, that's the thing is, we as fans are never going to know the conversations that are had from the NFL between these NFL teams and everything, because they could hear a whisper. Hey, Jerry, what's up? Hey, what's going on, pal? I just want to let you know, I heard something that I was just talking to Greg and over at the Ravens. Yeah, I know Greg. I just heard that he's going to try to trade up ahead of you, and I don't know who he's going to take, but I heard that it could be someone you might be interested in. And what? They could hear something just like that, and that would just spark it, and they're like, nope, we got to move up. Let's make the deal happen. Let's do what we got to do. We got to get our guy. Sometimes you just can't take risks. And we've seen teams before, million times. They wait. Oh, he's getting closer. Oh, he's getting closer. Oh, he's 2 picks away. What trade? What the? Are you serious? Oh, they took him. And that's the end. And that just kind of throws everybody off their game after that. It's like you were counting on that guy to slip to you, and all of a sudden another team liked him more than you to move up and get him. So sometimes those mind games are played, and they're played pretty darn well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and the fact that they're talking to the Lions. Now, the Lions, I think, have a few needs here. We're taking a look at it at our nice board that you came up with here. Corner, D lineman, O lineman, running back, a wide receiver. They really haven't had a running back in a while that could actually just run. They get a guys catching out of the backfield to try to mimic a run, but they can't exactly, they need that to alleviate some of the stress off of everything that Matthew Stafford. If they don't have Matthew Stafford, that team is pretty much cooked.
I think
we saw that last year.
I already think they have a running back, Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah, Kerryon Johnson,
I
but
think
he was
he's
injured last year, wasn't he?
for half the season. Yeah, but that's the thing is, like, Kerryon Johnson, listen, a lot of these guys, these rookie guys, think they can come in here and be like, I don't have to work out that much. I don't got to bulk up that much. I'll be just fine. And after a year, maybe even two, they kind of come to the realization that, holy crap, oh man, I'm so sore still in the off season. I better get in the gym, work out, so then I can take these hits. So, I do believe in Kerryon Johnson. I think he's the real deal for the Lions. He's one of those type of running backs that he can do everything. He's not a Theo Riddick where they see him as just a receiving threat.
Right.
So I think he's a real deal. Yes, he does have to stay healthy, but going into this draft now, here's a crazy thing is maybe the Lions are looking to trade down a little bit to maybe take one of these top flight receivers. No one's really talking about that. If Stafford is okay, if the doctors. Now, listen, Detroit knows already. Detroit Lions and their doctors, they've checked him out before this whole COVID thing happened. They know long-term, is he going to get re-injured? Is there a possibility that he could get re-injured and that's kind of it? That's career done. They already know these questions, these answers to these questions. So now if they're saying he's going to be just fine, we're okay. We don't need to panic. We have Stafford. We have him signed. You know what I mean? He's the guy, and there's no worries. then quarterback is okay. They can move on and get a corner. They can get a wide receiver. They can do whatever they want to do. But if there is any kind of concern where Stafford is and possibly could be, he could be done right now. We don't know. Maybe that injury is taking a lot longer to heal than they expected. Maybe they're starting to be a little bit more worried about it. Maybe that might pressure them into taking quarterback in this draft.
That's what I was thinking too,
so
possibly.
I know it sounds crazy, but when they have an opportunity here. They're sitting at 3. They could take the quarterback of their choice if they need to at number 3, or they can trade back. Maybe they can trade back and still get Tua because there's a lot of injury concerns with him now. Some people have him dropping out of the top 10. Some people aren't as high on him anymore because of that risk factor. You know, his injury could just that same injury could happen again right now. Yes, he's 100% healthy now is what we're hearing from everybody, and there's no worries. They're saying, oh, he's 100% healthy, he's good to go and everything. We don't really know. The doctors haven't had a chance to get their hands on him for physical or to check it out. So without that confirmation from teams, there's going to be growing concerns about, do you take this guy early? Is he a wasted pick? Is he going to get injured before he even gets to have a career? So there's a lot. I mean, you can just see me and Jimmy going back and forth with all this stuff. There's a lot of things that could happen. A lot of different trades.
I'm trying to even see how much he has left on his contract here. Because that's where I started thinking
Stafford?
about his durability. Yeah.
Because he signed a new deal probably like 2-3 years ago. So I would imagine he's still got a couple years maybe left on the deal, something like that.
Because, I mean, that could be a value pick. I mean, see if they trade back now, like you're saying. But maybe they just say, maybe we won't go for, like the Herberts or whatever. But maybe we even like a Jordan Love later on. Maybe we can get him a little later. That would be our backup plan, and then maybe we can still get – I think they should still get some kind of defensive lineman or an edge rusher of some sort. I think that they've been lacking some of that. Yes, I know they need corner support, especially seeing they traded away Darius Slay. But the problem they've always lacked with – and a lot of it because of injuries too with Ziggy Ansah and stuff like that. They couldn't get the pressure – to alleviate some of that pressure off of the back ends here in the coverage. So if they can get some of that, that would make the secondary that much better, and they wouldn't get exposed so much. You know what I'm saying? And that would be a little better for them.
But I mean, that's the thing is I think in this
they haven't had one in forever.
Right. In this draft, though, the draft is going to dictate who you're going to take. In this draft, Chase Young is the only pass rusher. If you're going to trade up to 2, or maybe they don't have to. Maybe they find out that maybe the Redskins move on. So, no, Chase Young's going to go at number 2. I mean, should be.
I know, but I'm
just
saying that they shouldn't have to move up to that to try to jump.
But that's the thing is Detroit. If you're not getting Chase Young, you're not drafting a DN this high. You're just not. There's nobody worth taking in the top 10, maybe even in the top 15, in my opinion. The Lions would go a different route. Now, they traded away Darius Slay. They don't really have an answer at corner. I think corner is more of a pressing need right now. Also, offensive line they could go. They could go offensive tackle if they were to trade down. They could go wide receiver if they wanted to pair him up with Holiday and Galladay. And Marvin Jones. So that's something to look at. They do have a tight end in T.J. Hawkinson, who was a rookie last year. Look for him to make another big step forward, playing for them. But there's too much pointing to that cornerback position. I think it's more of a pressing need than anything. And if they were to trade out of this selection, I think they're going to miss out on that opportunity to get one of these stud corners. Now, that's not to say that guys that aren't, if you're not Henderson or Okudah, then all these other guys that are going to be picked later are trash cans, are not good enough. I'm not saying that, but there is a little bit of a drop off if you're not taking Henderson or Okudah. So if you're not able to secure one of those guys, you got to go a different route. Then you got to go best available, don't you? Because you're trying to rebuild that defense or rebuild some more of that offense. Maybe they do go for a receiver if they do trade down.
Yeah, that's something interesting to look at. And now some of the other rumors we've also heard coming up is that the Falcons now are looking to trade into the top 10. Now, this could be one of the factors here. I don't think we've heard the Panthers want to trade out. I don't think they're going to be dealing with them. Possibly the Cardinals up in this mix, or some of these other guys that want to move out. Maybe the Giants, they want to move up that far. But if they want to go that far, who are they looking to grab? One of these offensive linemen again, to protect Matt Ryan?
Here's the craziest thing. Now, it just came across my phone. Is the Atlanta Falcons aren't just looking to trade up. They're not looking to trade up in the top 10. They're looking to trade up in the top 5 now.
Top 5 now. There you go. That would be 4.
And it's going to be, to everyone's surprise, it's for one of these tackles.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for a wide receiver to kind of maybe when Julio does move on, they'll have this guy in the waiting. It's nothing like that. It's not a tight end. There's no tight end worth taking that high. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be they really are these teams that are sitting outside the top 10 and even within the top 10. They are falling absolutely in love with some of these tackles. And there's going to be at least 4 picked. At least 4 in the top 15. Just at least 4. I almost know for a fact there's probably going to be 3 picked in the top 10. But 4 at least in the top 15. And there's so much competition right now. There's phone calls being made. There's conversations being had only about this tackle position. And we look at, we're all pushing wide receiver. Wide receiver is the deepest. The wide receiver's got some amazing players in it. But all these teams are talking about offensive tackle because teams are starting to discover how important it is to have bookend tackles and let alone a left tackle.
Something we've been saying even for a while. It's funny that it's just clicking in.
Why doesn't ESPN and the NFL Network listen to us?
I don't know, but Joe, we've got a sighting here. We've got Don Webb in the house.
Oh, what's going on, Don?
Give up the DJ horn on that one there. Don Webb is in the house.
Appreciate you.
From YouTube. By the way, if you guys are watching us on Facebook, you can also check us out on YouTube, too. We're streaming 3 ways here, by YouTube, Facebook, and on Periscope, too, right now. So
we don't go both ways. We go
Webb
3
in the
ways.
house. There you go. Don, if you're joining us in here, why don't you give us your tidbits on some of the draft moving forward?
This also just came in.
Yeah, we got news rolling in.
Rumors are just absolutely insane right now.
About that, though.
So here's the crazy thing: is we just talked about the Falcons.
Yeah, we did.
Now they're talking about them trading to 2.
To 2 now.
To take none other
Lions.
Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young for the Redskins.
So now they're in discussions to trade all. Now we've seen the Falcons be this aggressive before for Julio Jones when they kind of basically gave up their whole draft just to get Julio, and it panned out miraculously. But now they're going all in for Chase Young at number 2. They are trying to trade up with the Redskins right now. Now
they would have.
Here's the other. Yes, they would have to give up their draft. Wow. Absolutely. But the other thing, too, is do the Redskins want to trade down now?
Yeah.
Are they even going to have this conversation? Now, Atlanta might be trying and saying, hey, you wash our back, we'll wash yours. We'll give you next year's first, this year's first, second, next year's second. Maybe they're kind of trying to really sweeten this deal to maybe pull this off. However, this is going to be an extremely hard trade.
Yeah.
They are coming from 16th all the way up to 2. So it's going to be interesting now that we've heard this rumor. Can they actually get this done? Now we can't doubt them because they did it with Julio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This will be absolutely insane and change the draft if this happens.
Oh yeah, that'd be explosive. Don Webb says Atlanta for Chase Young, a big yes. He says Raiders D tackles, cornerback, linebacker, then wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with that? You're a Raiders fan.
And that's the thing is D tackle is one of those things that the Raiders were looking into. They were looking into D tackle. Nobody was really talking about it because it's not more of a glaring need. They do have some young defensive players. They did pick up Cowboys D tackle Malik Collins, who is kind of like an underrated player. Had a lot of pressures last year with the Cowboys. Did a miraculous job, and they still have Maurice Hurst, who they drafted in the 5th round now as a starter. So there's some things to like there, along with Jonathan Hankins, but now I think more of the major need for the Raiders is obviously corner. You need someone to go opposite Trayvon Mullen. You found Mullen last year, and he panned out for you. Now you need to find another corner opposite him. And beyond that, it's not a secret. Wide receiver is the Raiders need a number one type of wide receiver. So it'll be interesting nonetheless to see what the Raiders even do. They could trade out of the number 12 spot. Maybe they trade down. They don't have a second-round pick. So I kind of am expecting them at some point to trade down with one of those two picks.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things moving on. I can't believe Atlanta, though, going for that, to go all in on that. For
Number
me,
two.
that's a little too much. I don't get that.
and this
Like
is-
you said, that's
And this is the
They'd have
craziest
to
thing
pull off a
because
lot
it's
for
not
that.
like, it is a rumor, first of all.
yeah.
But this is being reported by more than one source.
Yeah.
It's Fox Sports is reporting it, ESPN's reporting it.
probably
So
letting
maybe
everybody
this
know
is
for some
legit.
reason.
I don't know. But can they get the deal done? It remains to be seen.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Tackett joins us here. Joey, want
Mike Tackett, what do you got here for me?
Here we go. Go ahead.
People are looking a lot into the Giants doing their due diligence with Justin Herbert. Between the interviews and consistent communication with him, people are getting the notion that New York will draft him. Me personally, I don't. Was he?
see New York.
The
drafting
cursor's
him.
in the
Sorry,
white.
I
I
put the
don't
cursor.
see. Don't see New York drafting him so much as I see the Giants covering their ass. Excellent. Think about it. You have a team in your own division, Redskins, who are rumored to be very interested in getting a new quarterback already. Instead of Chase Young, why not do your part and find out how Herbert thinks and his strengths and weaknesses? In the event that someone other than the Giants do draft him, they will already have the advantage on him when New York lines up against him. Now that's a very good point, Mike. I really appreciate the comment. That's shedding some light on that situation with Justin Herbert. Really appreciate your comment. Welcome, all you know-it-alls. Welcome if you're just tuning in. We went through, if you missed it, we went through my top 10 defensive players for this upcoming draft, who I thought top 10. And if you wanted to, I don't know if it's still there, but if you scroll back up, Mike Tackett, one of our know-it-alls, also put down his top 10 as well, if you want to check that out. And we will be posting those top 10 rankings probably tomorrow or next day.
Yeah, right
something
before
like
the
that.
draft, so you guys can check it out. As far as the Giants, though, moving forward, again, I'm hoping that it is some kind of smokescreen, or that they're trying to get some of these teams to make a trade or make a move if that's
Right.
what they want to do. And Mike said we used to at one point, like you get to know the guy, see how he thinks, what you might think of him, how he's going to perform, if certain nuances. So that's always good too. But as far as even the Redskins, that was an early on rumor about possibly they won't be sticking with Dwayne Haskins. They were going to look for somebody else. But who knows? Maybe moving on now with this new stuff we're hearing about Atlanta, maybe they are saying, if you guys want Chase Young bad, why don't you come up and get him? And then we'll move out. Who knows? What's up now? We got news popping all over the place.
Here's the
up
thing:
here.
is we were talking about this for like 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Now it's being reported that Redskins pretty much just slammed the door shut
Yeah,
and
they
said,
said,
no
I don't
way.
think so. All right, there you go. Well, there you go. See, because it made no sense to me. It seemed like a big reach, or maybe Atlanta's trying to drum up something. I don't know.
I mean, they were trying to drum up a trade is what they were trying to do.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. But it's pretty crazy. Again, you have to move up that far. I mean, that seems pretty. You'd have to surrender a lot.
They are
which
going to
they
give
don't
up
really
the farm.
have.
They've done it before. They'll probably do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
But now it's not going to happen.
All right, Don Webb says Atlanta has to give up 4 to 5 high draft picks this year. Next year, which she means Washington could turn into around this year, use your assets and go back up and get a player in the top 10. Washington might go after Cam Newton. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I see what Don is saying, because you do have that tie, that relationship between Ron Rivera and Cam Newton. And let's be honest, when Ron Rivera showed up in Carolina and they did draft Cam Newton, they made that offense work around Cam. Mm-hmm. And he's going to need, if he's even going to have a chance to start somewhere, he's going to need an offense to work around him and not the other way around. So I could see where you're headed with that, but Cam Newton is not a young spring chicken anymore. He's 30 years old. His body has been beat up. He is coming back and is healthy at this point. But again, has he lost strength in that arm of his because of the shoulder injury that he endured, and now that his body is starting to break down, is he going to be the same Cam? Is he going to be able to take on those hits? Is he going to be able to run with the football, with finesse, with power like he once did? I don't know if that's going to be the answer for the Redskins when they already have a young kid in Dwayne Haskins. Now, some Redskins fans are disappointed with Haskins. They don't like him right now and everything. But here's the thing you got to remember. Much like Mitch Trubisky, who had 1 year of college football experience, Dwayne Haskins has the same 1 year of college football experience. So he still needs to develop into a starting type of quarterback in the NFL. Now, does he have it? I think he has it already in him. I think he has that X factor. I think what it is he already has accuracy. That's not a question. It's more about becoming more of a student of the game, learning his reads, learning where to go with the football when he's in trouble, and getting rid of the football quickly, not trying to hold on to it too long. If he can do those things in this, well, not really in this offseason. You can only work pretty much with you and maybe one or two other receiver in a facility or outdoors. But nonetheless, he needs to develop further. And I think he will be the answer for Washington in the future. But if you were to move on right now and bring in Cam, let's be honest. If you're bringing in Cam, you know that you're going to push Cam to start.
Yeah.
Haskins going to sit. He's not going to get any experience that way. And in turn, it's probably going to hurt him and enable him not to become the guy you need to right now.
Right, possibly. I know what Don Webb, he says right here, Haskins could learn for 1 or 2 years under a veteran quarterback. And, that's fine if somebody that's already kind of been in there and can kind of teach you the ropes, but to bring a veteran in
Listen, I don't think
who
you want to
still
learn from
wants
Cam.
to start. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know if you want to be that kind of have that type of quarterback in there, which –
now,
you're not really,
Don't get me wrong. Cam does have Haskins on arm strength.
Yeah.
But how much does he have? That's the other question
that
mark.
he's probably lost a little
And
bit.
now you look at it like, let's just say, for example, they add Cam tomorrow, okay? And you're going to have a little bit of a quarterback competition, but we all know if you're bringing in Cam, he's most likely going to start. Now, Haskins is sitting there with a clipboard. He's not getting any experience. He's not going to grow and develop. All you got is practice. That's not enough. You need real live game time speed. You need him to feel threatened. You need him to worry about getting hit. He's got to get rid of the ball. So I think why stop now? Why stunt his growth and his development and bring in someone else completely different? I think if they stick with Haskins and work with him, I think he can develop into the next good quarterback for the Redskins.
Don Webb says Miami has the capital to get some great players.
Absolutely.
Your thoughts, Tua or Herbert?
Go, Jim. Go.
I'm going to say Herbert again because, again, everybody's trending away from Tua. You're not sure, again, with the amount of injuries that he's had. And it's not even like he's had a whole ton. It's the specific injuries. I mean, to his ankles, his hip. I mean, a shattered hip, that sounds horrible to me. And again, for him to be able to even throw or even take an impact hit, I mean, we've seen other guys take hits before in the NFL and just destroy you. I mean, especially if you can't learn to get down, somebody that
look at RG3.
Mobility has been part of your game plan, and when it's taken away, what else you got? A strong arm that you can get it down the field possibly? Yeah, okay. But how long is that going to get you somewhere, especially if you don't have time? It depends on where you get drafted. Again, I think Miami needs to focus on offensive line again. I guess now seeing they just traded away their tackle, I guess. But
and they let the other one walk to free agency.
Right.
You know what I mean? Juwan James, who was a really good Pro Bowl type right tackle for them. So they let bookend tackles out of their building, and now they're clamoring for offensive line help. I mean, how ridiculous is that? So now you're going to have to go in the draft, and hopefully you hit on your pick and try to rebuild this team altogether. So I mean, it's absolutely out of control.
The thing is here too. He says Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes they sat, but they are both great. Aaron Rodgers, they were planning for the future. They still had Brett Favre. I don't think Brett Favre was even really trending backwards. I think at that point
he was still a really good player. He was more of a gunslinger. Yeah, he threw picks and all that kind of thing. But he's a legend.
And
you know what I mean? And then
where
that
he
draft,
was drafted, I think he fell a little bit in that draft.
He
but
did.
He
A
isn't.
lot.
There wasn't questions around him like there is with Haskins, where he has a limited play time.
But this is the craziest thing. is Aaron Rodgers slipped regardless of all that. And he went to, I believe the Packers were picking 22nd, 24th, something like that in that draft. And the Packers themselves were baffled why he was there was teams calling about Aaron Rodgers, like, is he injured? Did he smoke pot last week? What's going on? You know, why is he falling? Because nobody expected him to slide that far. And then when he got to the Packers, they're like, well, we did all the checking we could do, and I haven't heard anything negative about the guy. I haven't heard him do anything wrong. Didn't get arrested or anything like that. Well, let's
22nd.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Don. So it was 22nd. When he was sitting there, they're like, hey, Brett Favre, he's not super young. He is getting up there in age. Let's pull the trigger, and now we'll have our next future quarterback. And sure enough, it worked out amazingly for them. You know, so those type of things are going to happen. In almost every draft, we see that happen where we're like, wow, why is this guy still there? He's sliding. Now he's in the second round. What's going on? And people are trying to figure out what our team's thinking, what's going. Is there something wrong with the guy? So we're going to see that in this draft. I mean, but nonetheless, going back to the Tua Herbert debate, here's what I'll have to say: is I do have a concern with Tua going forward if he can stay healthy, but if he can change his game. Now I know he's super competitive, and that's why he tries to do more than he should at times. In terms of running with the football. But this kid he's the most accurate quarterback coming out in this draft. He's one of the smartest dudes in this draft. He's one of the most talently gifted in this draft. There's everything to like about this kid. Now, if you're able to curb his drive to just balls out and take on hits and everything, if you could make him more like Russell Wilson, because he has been compared to Russell Wilson. Now, what does Russell Wilson do better than anybody? He doesn't take a hard hit. He slides or runs out of bounds. Never takes a hard hit. If Tua can do that, I want Tua all day long. As long as he can change his game, his mental makeup about how to play that position when he's running, I want Tua all day long. He's a better quarterback, hands down. But Herbert, there isn't an injury concern. He has a lot of things that you like. He's got size. He's got mobility to go with it. He's got a strong arm. He has accuracy. But his decision-making kind of troubles you a little bit. So there are limitations for both. Obviously, Tua's with mobility and getting out of trouble. And Herbert, a little inconsistent for my taste. So for me, if I'm one of these teams that are looking for a quarterback, looking for a future, I'm willing to risk it. I love Tua. I like everything about his game. And, yes, I understand the hip thing could come back to bite me if I was to take him. But sometimes in the draft, you got to take risks on some of these guys. Because and here's the thing, if they pass on him, let's just say that, for example, they pass on him, Chargers take him. We'll say that. And they go ahead and they take the safer pick. A lot of people are now deeming him the safer pick as Herbert. Herbert is nothing like Tua.
Oh, yeah.
And if Tua can stay healthy, the Chargers are going to be great. You know, look at that team right now. Great defense. In their offense, you got to make that offensive line better. Their weapons, he has weapons around him. That team could really take off. Whereas the Dolphins, if they get this wrong, and Herbert doesn't pan out, you got the safer pick, but he's not going to bring you the Super Bowl. You got to win.
Questions to be had. Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of good comments by Don Webb and a lot of stuff to think about. Mike Tackett says here, he's going to bring up some tidbits here.
All
He
right,
goes,
here
never forget the biggest draft trade of all time, the 1999 draft. Saints received 1999 first round, number 5, Ricky Williams. Redskins receive the first round, number 12, traded to the Bears, 1999. Third round, number 71, traded to the Bears. 1999,
Jesus.
fourth round, number 7. Nate Stimson. And the fifth round, number 144, traded to the Bears. And 99, traded to the Broncos.
Yeah,
wow,
that's
man.
right.
Yeah,
It was like a
massive
laundry list.
trade. Yeah,
It was a
and
laundry
then
list
LeVar
of picks.
Arrington here finally.
Yeah.
Number 2 in the third round. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that is pretty epic. I think maybe that's why people maybe might have forgot about it, though, too, because holy moly, that's a lot of moves in that whole thing.
It is.
All right.
Mike Tackett also says, he goes, if a top 5 quarterback not named Tua drops to the end of the first round, I bet Green Bay pulls the trigger or at least listens to trade offers. Now, here's the thing, is for Tua, if Tua happens to slip past the top 10, okay, which it seems like if Miami doesn't take him and the Chargers don't take him, there's a real potential that he kind of slips pretty far. I don't see him, however, if Tua, say, in the middle of the first round is still hanging around, he's there at 16, and he goes to 17. Now, it's not crazy, but Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are having issues with their contract. They still have not been able to agree on a new deal, and after every week that goes by and we get closer to the season, I know what the Cowboys want. The Cowboys want him to prove to them one more season that he's the real deal before they just hand over and back up the Brinks truck to his house. If they feel like we could do better, if Tua slips to them, I would not be shocked if the Cowboys took Tua there, because now they have an insurance plan. It's like, ha-ha, guess what? We got all the leverage now. We just drafted your replacement, and if you want, we're just gonna move on from him. We're not gonna pay you the big contract. We're gonna save a lot of money that way. We got Tua to replace you. We're good. He'll sit there for a year. He'll be the starter for the Cowboys. Now, wouldn't be surprised about that happening. The other thing too is that I'm hearing that the Patriots. Now, we do know that they are in the quarterback market. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they want some more competition in that position, and they are looking for the future. Now, they do like Stidham. They like him. They re-signed Brian Hoyer there, the veteran quarterback, as an insurance policy there. But if they were to get their hands on Tua, listen, the Patriots don't normally do this ever. But this could be that one draft where they happen to trade up to secure Tua Tagovailoa. And if they did that, it might shock some people because Patriots don't trade up, but it wouldn't shock me because they want that franchise-type quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I think if he's there, they're always best at getting needs, if it's the best available, if it's around. I mean, look what they end up getting even with Sony Michel when he was around there. There was even some question marks about his knees. And
which were true.
Which are true,
because we saw him in the NFL get hurt.
Yeah. I mean, when he was out there, he was very productive. And they were able to make it work.
100%.
Don Webb says Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. So does New England, like you just said.
Right.
Who do you think they'll go after? You just brought up Tua possibly here. Now, Pittsburgh loves linebackers. Always hit on linebacker.
Right.
Now, Pittsburgh, do you think they even take a shot at one of these quarterbacks?
I don't think they're going to. Listen, Pittsburgh doesn't have a first-round pick.
Yeah,
they don't have a first-round pick.
So, I mean,
unless they were absolutely in love with a guy by the name of Jordan Love, that could be an option. If he happens to slide in that lower tier first round, they could trade into the first round and nab a quarterback that way. But the Steelers don't have a lot of picks. They don't have a first rounder, and they have a few scattered throughout the rest of the draft. But I just don't know if they're now. I know they're looking. I know they're looking for the franchise guy to sit behind Big Ben. Big Ben has a 3-year extension that he signed. Do they sit and wait for the next year's draft to maybe get it, because then they'll have a first-round pick? There's going to be plenty more quarterbacks to be had then. Or do they kind of take a shot here if one of these guys do happen to slide and they try to trade back in and kind of push their chips to the center of the table and go after quarterback? I think they're going to draft one. I just don't – I don't see them trading up. The Steelers have done a great job in drafts. In particularly, they're one of those franchises that they do such a phenomenal job scouting for talent and grabbing just the right guys. And you're right, Don. They love drafting linebackers. We saw it last year. They drafted their kind of replacement, if you will, for Ryan
Shazier with Devin Bush.
Yeah, with Devin Bush. Devin Bush now, he's playing amazingly for them. So he fits their scheme to a T. You could see them go another linebacker. You could see them go another linebacker. There's definitely guys out there that they would fall in love with, and you could also see them go corner. That's another position that they could use opposite Joe Hayden, who they have. Now you look at Artie Burns, who was supposed to be their long-term type of answer, and he went to free agency and now left.
Yep.
Obviously didn't work out for him. So that's another position they could go for as well. I do see Pittsburgh taking a chance on a quarterback to maybe sit back there and compete with Mason Foster and or Mason Rudolph and Duck
Devin
Dodge's
Hodges.
dynasty.
Devin Hodges, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, again, I think they're going to go probably corner, or again, they've also hit on wide receiver too. So I think they're not exactly out of the market for going wide receiver here because they usually hit big.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened. The big question last year was going to be, how is Juju Smith-Schuster going to handle the number 1 spot here? Is he going to be able to produce? And we saw
did.
it. He did a little bit, but I mean,
definitely.
It wasn't like we probably thought it should be. I don't think he did nothing like he did when he had AB on the opposite side.
Well, when you have AB on the side, you got to split your defense. So
Mm-hmm.
both of them did. Both
so
of
I
them
think they're
did
going to
extremely
add some
well.
more weapons here. Now you can't just have like James Washington on one side and then Ryan Switzer sprinkled in a little bit here, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Well, didn't he have over like 1,100 receiving yards too? I think he did. I think he had a really good season.
I have to look it up on
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Big Ben, 8 half the extension, says Don Webb. Jalen Hurts will be there in the second round. Yeah, I don't
That's
maybe,
nice.
but I don't
Here's
know.
the thing about Jalen Hurts is I know that the Steelers are kind of being tied to Jalen Hurts, and there are other teams that are really growing into wanting to draft Jalen Hurts, and I like him. It's not that I don't like Hurts. I like him. I think he's a very smart quarterback. He has size. He does have mobility on his side if needed. But there are faults in his passing game where I could see him. He is a developmental guy. He's not a guy that's going to come in and start right away. You got to work with this kid and not try to force him to the wolves right away. So you definitely need someone like you mentioned the Steelers could take him in the second round. It's true. They could, but I don't know if the value that is there for him in the second round. I think more like the third round. But again, treasure is in the eye of the beholder here. So for some teams, they might be extremely high on him to take him in the second round or not want to risk not being able to take him. So I do like Hurts. I think he's a good player, but there's some throws that he makes when he was with Oklahoma where I was kind of thinking in the future. Like if he made that same throw in the NFL against a pro corner or in an NFL defense, would that actually be a completion? More likely it would have been a pick because some of his throws were behind his receivers. So that kind of concerns me a little bit. If you're going to take him to be the successor, if you need to take him to develop him, not just to kind of bring him in and he's going to be the answer right away. So I think he needs like a year or two of development before he's able to even take on that starting role. But nonetheless, that's what makes this draft great. We get to see where these guys all pan out.
Oh, definitely. So I don't see him in the top even 20 on here. I could be wrong here, but on Juju Smith-Schuster. But yeah, definitely a lot of rumors going on. We're hearing we heard some come and go with Atlanta and then shut down instantly by Washington. So I mean, if you guys have any other things out there too you want to bring up, I like the Big Ben debate and things with
definitely.
Pittsburgh. That's a great one too. Don Webb says, "I love sports, but." Hashtag RN4L. So I am intentionally.
Raider Nation for life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
I got him.
All right, he's got you. Yeah, Raider Nation. That's weird.
So
Raider fans.
I'm intentionally staying away from the Raiders. They lit up the Allegiant Stadium at the what is it? Allegiant Stadium at night. Looks awesome. Yeah, I did see that video of Allegiant Stadium lit up. They got half the stadium lit up. All the lights are working on the outside. It's pretty cool looking, actually. But yeah, that's going to be one of those diamond in the rough type of stadiums when it's completed. It's going to be amazing. And just like the Raiders, the Rams Stadium is getting close to being done as well. I think they're going to be done around the same times of each other. And that stadium too, so far, that looks pretty dynamic as well. But yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be interesting for sure.
Definitely. Greg is in the house. Greg Schreiner.
Wait, there's a
is
Greg
in the house.
Schreiner here? What's going on, Greg?
Schreiner's in the house. He says he's got predictions, Joe. He's got predictions. Here we go.
Yes, he does.
His prediction on Hurts. He's going to wow people in his first season or two and then fall off the radar like RG3. It all depends. 2019 season, Juju Smith-Schuster had 552 yards. There you go.
What? What's that?
552 yards.
For what?
Juju Smith-Schuster.
For last season?
Yep.
How many games he play?
12.
Really?
Yep.
That's it? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
there
crazy.
you go. A little tidbit. All right. Now Hurts. Yeah. Who knows?
So,
It's
but
all
listen,
depends
hold on.
with
Before,
RG3
before,
didn't
wait,
really
wait,
fall
wait,
off.
wait, wait.
What?
Before we go any further,
What?
didn't we have that conversation too? Before the season he played,
Yeah.
we said without Antonio Brown that his production will probably dip because that defense is not going to go.
Yeah, we did say that.
I just
it did
want-
happen. No, I know.
I just like to show the Nodos we do our homework. That's all.
Yeah, I hear you. That's
right.
why I thought it was odd that you said you thought he had 1,000 yards. I'm like, I don't think he did. I think he again didn't live up to expectations.
Then why do you make the Pro Bowl?
A lot of
Popularity
alternates
vote.
happen. Yeah, but all right, he goes on Hurts. But the thing is, you can't say fall off the radar like RG3 because RG3, he still played to his talents. He did get injured, and that's what threw him off the wagon. I think on everything. I think that really changed a lot, and changed the way he kind of had to play, and that would be more like.
That was the offense, though, too. When he came back from that injury, they wanted him to be just a pocket quarterback. So they here's a problem that I have for some coaches where they're like, I know they're worried about their guys getting injured, but like a Lamar Jackson, he's a runner. He's just a runner first, passer second, and he doesn't take hits so far. However, because he's so elusive, but it might take one good hit on this dude, and if he gets injured, I don't know if he'll be the same. Just like RG3. Now, when RG3 came back, they want him to be just a pocket quarterback, and that's not his game. You can't change the player that was so successful for you to completely make him do a 180 and say, hey, we're going to make you something you're not. It just doesn't work out for either side. So I don't like when coaches and teams do that to players. If you drafted the guy, if you bring him in, he's going to be that type of guy. So if you try to change his game, he's not going to play up to the level that you want.
All right. Mike Tackett asked if we're going to be live tomorrow night during the draft.
Oh, we could be. Mike, it's up to you, buddy. We do these shows for you guys, know-it-alls. That's what it is. So maybe if you want us to be live, go ahead and give us a thumbs up in the comment section.
Possibly, yeah.
And if we get enough thumbs up, maybe we will.
I don't know. I don't think we're even going to be together, are we?
Yeah, we are.
A
You're
lot of
coming
people
over.
think we're. Oh yeah.
You're
Okay.
coming over.
All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you're coming over.
All right. A lot of people just
Watch the
assume
draft.
we're together all the time.
We
Like,
are.
We never leave each other's side. So
We don't.
It's tough. But-
Even I'm watching through the window when he's working.
Yeah. There you go. Don Webb says, "Will Braun fall in the draft? The PED issue, and then he's very good. Yeah.
He is.
yeah.
I love Zach Bond. He's going to be an awesome linebacker in the NFL. Now, here's the craziest thing, and it happens to everybody. Whenever something like this comes up, is it? It's been confirmed that it's legit. He had a watered down sample and all that type of thing, and everything. When these stories come up and they pop up, whether it's a physical, a red flag on a physical, whether it's something like this, guys drop, no matter what. There's nothing wrong with Zach Bond physically. He's all good to go, but I feel like he will drop. I just don't. I have a hard time believing that he'll drop out of the first round completely. I think there's going to be teams like even the Patriots have a need at linebacker. Baltimore Ravens, they really need a linebacker. I think Bond really fits their defensive scheme really well. So they could just take him in the first round. But will he fall? Maybe. But it almost seems like every time something comes up, teams are like, oh, we had him as the third best position player. We gotta lower him down. He's got to be a third round player, third round pick for us. Why? He is the player that you had him ranked high. Now because what? He tripped over a banana and now he's got a sprained ankle. You think that's it? We're gonna lower him off the boards. Why? He's gonna be healthy for the season. And with Bond, there's nothing wrong with him. So I don't understand why some teams do that. They either take him off their boards like Tua.
Yeah.
Tua, I heard a rumor that 3 teams in particular, I don't know in particular who they are, but at least three teams took him off their draft boards, like completely. You know who those teams are? Teams that don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're not really worried about it. But I just never understood downgrading players because of something that's either minor that can be healed over time, that they're going to be ready for the season, but maybe not right now, or they're going to miss training camp and they lower them. It just doesn't make sense.
Definitely. You hear issues like that a lot, and then even just things that pop up the day before the draft and stuff. I mean, like we said, the Larry Tunsil thing he dropped, and then he ended up still being a great player. And has any kind of off-the-field issues been part of his NFL career? Not at all. But some other people that get drafted number 1 overall, like Jameis Winston,
Yeah.
tons of stuff.
Yeah.
That guy has gone through all kinds of issues here. You know what I'm saying? So, but he got picked. All right. How come he didn't fall? You know, and he had a
He
checkered
stole crab
college.
legs.
Not even that. Other things. There were sexual assault, other things like that. And then afterwards in the NFL,
Domestic
the same
violence,
thing.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So crazy stuff. It happens. As far as even, I want to touch on even part with some of the things I look at with quarterbacks and some of these guys coming out of the draft too. I think some of it can be said on what system you're in in college, and also who your coach is too. We see in trends, like you and I have talked about this a lot, coming out of Alabama. Running backs don't really pan out too well coming into the NFL, things like that. Quarterbacks out of Ohio State. When was the last good quarterback to come out of Ohio State even, too?
Corner?
Quarterback.
Quarterback.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With some of these guys that have moved from different teams and you know, say like
It's hard to-
Ohio State, but then go into transfers. That's the thing with this.
That's a funny
league,
thing, too, is you brought up the perfect reason. Joe Burrow was an Ohio
Right.
State Buckeye, and he decided to leave because they recruited Justin Fields. So Justin Fields comes in, he ends up getting the starting job, and Joe Burrow's like, "Oh, I'm out. I'm not going to be the starter. Okay, it's my senior year. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go somewhere else." Goes to LSU, and look at him now. He's the number 1 pick overall. Now, this is funny because in college, you look at these head coaches and they kind of fall in love with the athlete versus the actual quarterback. Burrow was a backup in Ohio State, and you mean to tell me you never played this kid? You've seen him in practice and everything. How did he not win the job? He was leaps and bounds better than Fields. So you got to wonder sometimes, too, with these coaches, are they really playing the best player in college, or are they just playing the player that they happen to fall in love with and like? You know what I mean? So, but
Jalen Hurts is another one, though, too. Same kind of
Yeah.
deal. You know what I'm saying?
he's being pumped up. But I just don't see teams taking – listen – in the second and third round, you could be taking a much better player for a different position. So why would a team reach and take Hurts now when they could just say, I'm going to take a receiver in the second round, I can take a linebacker in the third round, I can really kind of fill out my team, and then maybe if he's around in the third or fourth, I'll take him.
Yeah. Who knows? All right, Don Webb says, I bet you Art Schlitzer was going to be a great quarterback. LOLA. Yes. Oh my goodness. All right, here. So far we're just talking about the NFL draft coming up tomorrow night. I don't know if we are going to go live or not. Mike Tackett asked that. Who knows? Maybe we'll do somehow FaceTime or something or other. I don't know. We won't have the setup at the where we're going to be watching.
Oh yeah, Dwayne Haskins was from Ohio State too. That just Don Webb put it in there. So
but he's not good. So I mean, it
Burrow
doesn't
got
matter.
the shaft.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say he's not good.
He's not.
You
He's
can't
not
say
gonna
that.
be good. I can.
He
say
had
that.
1 year in the NFL
Right.
for 1 year experience in college football. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's why I said good quarterback.
You said he's no good though, didn't
Yeah,
you?
he's not good. I said they haven't had a good quarterback in the NFL.
Well, he
Okay.
can develop into that.
I don't think so. But
You
sure.
can't. It's too early. You can't grade. See, that's the problem. Guys like that, you cannot grade rookies.
Hey, when
and say
right
they're
as
just
much
no
as I am,
good.
a lot of times.
Get
You
out of
can't-
here.
You can't get by it. So you never know. But
You
all right,
don't
so,
know.
yeah,
That's the problem.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be exciting tomorrow. We're about to get up out of here. We've been on here for about 2 hours and stuff.
Hold
so
on,
we're
we're not
running out of
going yet.
time. What is it? What do we got? You got more
Bill,
news?
hey, where's Greg Schreiner? I hope you're still there, Greg. But this is more news for you because we know you're a Bills fan. The Bills exercised Tre'Davious White's 5th-year contract option, and he's staying another year with the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I like that.
Had to
trend.
fit
I like
that in right there.
I like that. I like what they're doing there in Buffalo. I mean,
Yeah, I think
that's
they're
gonna
doing a
be
great
interesting,
job. I
too,
mean,
with them.
You know, we're always high on their defense, if they can just upgrade that offensive line,
Yeah.
they could be dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. Mike Tackett says the 2015 Ohio State roster was crazy.
It sure
Michael
was.
Thomas, Zeke
Yep.
Elliott, Joey Bosa, Joe Burrow, Eli Apple. Eli Apple is all right. Curtis Samuel, Braxton Miller, Paris Campbell, Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, he's terrible. He's awesome. All right. Marshawn Lattimore, Raekwon
You're
McMillan,
terrible.
Sam Hubbard, Gary Conley. It's Cardell Jones. Yeah. All right. Denzel Ward, Jerome Baker, Malik Hooker. Ohio State, no QBs, but they beat Mitch like a drum.
Oh,
All right. Yeah.
Shots fired again.
Yeah.
No one like.
So
Why
what?
is everyone
cares?
just attacks you about that?
Yeah,
I
that's
know you're a
fine.
Michigan fan, but
That's
come on.
fine. Who cares? Yeah, I don't care. That's fine.
Greg
You know,
is here. And-
You know what? We also Michigan also bred the best quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. See ya. Bye.
Who's that?
Drop the mic.
Wait, what did you just say?
There you go.
What'd
Tom Brady. There you go, from Michigan. Thank you very much. Doesn't matter what you do at the school, it's what you do further on in the NFL. 6 rings.
Yeah, well, I could argue that.
There you go.
I could definitely argue that.
Greg's here still. Here he goes. Yes, that's exciting. He loves that. I love that too. I think that's a great move by the Buffalo Bills.
I think Buffalo Bills, they're just doing things smart.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything out of their comfort zone, and they're being smart about their moves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you see this team getting better every year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's their year right now. They could take this division, but you gotta protect Josh Allen. Just gotta do it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so you ready to roll up out of here? We've been on
I
here for
guess
a
so.
while. It's 2
This
hours.
is
We're
fun.
done. I'm rolling up. I'm done.
I like it.
All right, I got a lot of work to do tonight. You know, we're gonna be posting up all those top 10 videos. We're gonna do short snippets of that so you guys can check out our top 10s that Joe did. Coming up with the draft here, Gronk is back. It's only been 3,000 years since this scum beat Ohio State.
Mike
whatever,
is
Mike
really
Tackett.
pouring it on.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? I had to live through the Rich Rod days and things like that. You know what I mean? And oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into it. You know, it was terrible. You know, I love the glory days with Tyrone Wheatley and all that stuff. It was
Yeah,
good stuff.
Tyrone Wheatley
but
was a beast.
the problem is too is with the college right now too. If you want to look at it this way. It's much like the way youth is now in general, I think too, or like even say NBA, Golden State Warriors, hot team, whatever. This is the hot team. I think Michigan is having a tougher time recruiting because in some of the last, like you said, last decade or whatever, kids don't really recognize them as being a great team or somewhere to go to.
But
You've
they're a
seen
high
Alabama,
Division One. They're high Division One, high caliber.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you should. Yeah, you can be. Some of those are too. Some kids will join just say like the Crimson Tide because of the success that they've had.
But
they get the top recruits
but
out of everybody.
Right,
going to it.
but when you talk about recruits, there's only so many scholarships to go around.
Mm-hmm.
So when Michigan goes and targets some players, like you look at, they got athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Look at John Runyon's kid, for crying out loud, is one of the best guards coming out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's coming, or tackle, I should say. He's coming out in the draft, and I'm high on John Runyon Jr.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I like him. He's a Michigan guy. So their center is one of the best, if not the best center coming out in the draft. So they have talent. They are recruiting some big-time players. It's just the problem with when you recruit is, you only have so many scholarships, but also when you go to recruit some of these top-notch athletes, these top-notch players, they might have offers from a winning team. Like they see winning and they're like, well, I want to be a part of that. Like Alabama. They're one of those dynasty type colleges. So they seem to always win. So with that winning comes recruits, but also sometimes you don't get those recruits because they're like, well, I can take the scholarship, but I'm not starting for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why do I want to do that when I can go to USC, which is a really prestigious school, and I could probably be a starter for three seasons, maybe 4. So, I mean, there's a lot of variables that go along with that. But, I mean, Michigan, they do get their guys. They got talent.
Yeah, it's core guys. They don't get the flashy, this and that. They probably.
Well, Donovan Peoples-Jones is their
quarterback,
flashy guy for wide receiver.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe
we'll
the
see.
Giants will draft him.
Maybe we'll see. Who knows? Moving forward, but Mike Tackett says Rich Rod and Brady Hoke put them back 10 years exactly. Robinson at quarterback, that was tough to watch. That's what I mean. You've got a quarterback
right.
that runs 90% of the time.
All the time.
How does that work in your offense? How is
Speech.
he even the quarterback?
Speech.
You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating. Don't get me frustrated.
Hey, guys,
you guys can't
thank-
do it.
Thank you, Know-It-All, so much
Yeah,
for
thanks
checking
so
in. You
much.
really really livened the show up. Thank you guys
Yeah.
so much. Really appreciate you all. Make sure to share on YouTube, share on Facebook, share on Twitter. Try to help us grow this family. We really appreciate you all. Also, check us out on YouTube, Football on the No Show. Hit the subscribe button if you
Yep,
really
just
like what
Don
you see.
Webb did.
Also, hit the notification bell for our latest and greatest updated content. You can also find us on Facebook, like many of you already are. Football on the No Show. Go ahead and become a member that way. And also on Twitter, we try to keep up with all the rumors and the updated news around the NFL circles at FB_no. We will see you all next week.
All right, sounds good. Good night.
Join us next week from 8 till Tuesday night for more Football on the No with Jim and Joe.